Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we are discussing the Breitling Emergency Mission. 45 millimeters in stainless steel. You can see and you can purchase this Super Quartz Emergency Transponder watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and of course complete pricing information on this Breitling Emergency Mission. Now the Emergency is well known. Since 1995, the Emergency has been the backup for pilots, offshore sailors, and wilderness hikers who wanted to have an ace in their back pocket should disaster strike. In 2003, the Emergency Mission debuted as an alternative that made some of the features of the Quartz caliber more accessible with a layout that was distinctly traditional. As a chronograph, this one is engaged exactly as its mechanical counterpart would be, and this is preferable to some who want the emergency transmitter function but don't want to deal with the somewhat abstruse and archaic interface of Breitling's aerospace style Super Quartz calibers. So this one slightly less capable in terms of total feature set than the conventional Super Quartz watches, nevertheless gives you more immediate access to the one feature that you're most likely to use, the chronograph. Now the watch is big, 45 millimeters on my 16 centimeter 6 1/3 inch wrist. You can see that it stands quite proud of the forearm, and it is immensely thick, just over 19 millimeters in total girth. This is the kind of watch that you quite frankly can't wear underneath any kind of sleeve. And while it does fit me, you could see from lug to lug it's a big watch at 58 millimeters from lug to lug, and nevertheless it does have a nicely curved flank, so in conjunction with the bracelet fighter style, the watch will fit on your wrist. And again, this is something that you might legitimately wear to save your life, so if it looks a bit awkward, guess what? When you're out there in the middle of the ocean alone, there's going to be no one to judge you until the Coast Guard shows up, so don't worry about it. The timepiece is very, very heavy. Built jointly by Dassault in France and Breitling in Switzerland, it's an interesting international consortium of technology, but in terms of conventional hardware such as bracelet and clasp, it's robust and it's certainly up to its billing as a luxury product. Beautifully finished inside, the clasp has a clamshell closure to keep it secure. It features a contrasting finish with a satin-finished center slash-cut link and outer links in high polish. Now, the case itself, all in high polish, has an imposing look. And yes, it's emergency equipment, but it isn't without a little bit of a flamboyant fashion sensibility. However, it is entirely functional. Now it features a pilot-style bidirectional rotating calibrated bezel with the traditional Breitling rider tabs present and accounted for, as are the traditional Breitling bezel screws. These hold it in place. Again, you can't simply pop this one off with a blow against a door or drywall. Breitling bezels are the toughest in the business. They stay put until they're disassembled. They're never simply popped off. Now the dial of the watch is actually surprisingly Baroque, featuring a concentric circular guilloche radiating out from the center, countersunk sub-registers, and all applied numerals. It's quite handsome and features a tachymetric scale Rayhaut sloping down from that tall chimney encircled bezel. Now the chimney of course being that inner portion of the Breitling bezel that provides a buffer between the rotating portion of the bezel and the crystal itself. That's called the chimney. Now the watch features a chronograph, but not a completely conventional chronograph, although it's still operated in start, stop, and reset manner. The bottom line is that it does feature radial minutes as well as seconds to make this critical information just a bit easier to read. Radial minutes read more easily and more readily than sub-second minutes, or I should say sub-register minutes. The watch is a quartz chronometer. It uses the Breitling caliber 73, so thermocompensated super quartz. It has extreme stability regardless of temperature. This is not a universal feature of quartz watches. And again, Breitling, since 2000, certifying all of its watches, quartz and mechanical, as chronometers with the COSC, a unique refinement and a distinction in a watch that is already quite different from the norm. Now, the watch also features hacking seconds and a time zone feature that drives the hour hand independently of the seconds and the minutes, so you can jump forward or backwards as you travel without affecting the time-telling precision of the watch. Now, the transmitter. The number one question that people ask about the emergency, whether emergency mission or traditional, is how does it work and when can you use it? Well, how does it work? Let's start with that. This one uses the original emergency frequency of 121.5 megahertz. Now, you ask, what replaced it? Well, 406 megahertz. Is it still monitored? Yes, 121.5 megahertz is almost universally still monitored by pilots and rescue authorities. So rest assured, if you turn this on and you're within 90 nautical miles of a receiver that is tuned into that frequency, you will be heard. It's the older frequency, but it is not an obsolete frequency. Now, the watch does feature a quick set for the date. It features 100-meter water resistance, so it's quite robust as an everyday sports watch. And in terms of when it's appropriate to use the watch, life-saving situations, yes, there's a mighty big fine, as in a house-sized fine, if you use this thing unauthorized, but it's almost impossible to set it off accidentally as it needs to be activated and unpacked from its sealed canister. There is a huge antenna that comes out of the watch. And second, if you use this watch because you fall off your yacht and you're alone in the ocean, if you're that guy trapped under a boulder contemplating dismemberment by pocket watch, rest assured that's appropriate as a rescue scenario. Set off your emergency, you will not be second guessed. And in case you want to have that backup, that ace up your sleeve on your wrist, visit our website where you can purchase this Breitling emergency mission.